Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Rank, where I climb the online VGC 15 ladder, still kicking it with the Apex team, as we're just going to jump right into it and look for a battle. So our rating has really hovered around the mid-1800s in the last couple of days, so it'd be really nice to finally break over 1850, just because I think the last couple of days we've managed to win one and lose one, as James Speed 1 is actually going to be our first opponent of the day from New York, a rating of 1738. This should be interesting. I've actually played James multiple times. He is from the area. He's one of the newer players, but he actually managed to qualify for the World Championships through the Last Chance qualifier last year in the Seniors Division. Of course, the LCQ is not a thing anymore, but he took full advantage of it when it was. We also played in the finals of a Premier Challenge earlier the very first Premier Challenge I was able to win in Brooklyn. That was with VGC 14 rules. And we also played on BattleSpot a couple days ago, so I think this should be really interesting. He also has a YouTube channel, so I'll link it in the description below. He does some VGC stuff too occasionally, so actually he uploads on a pretty frequent rate, so if you want more VGC content, definitely go check him out. But he's got a team of Venusaur, Rotom-Wash, Cresselia, Garchomp, Scrafty, and Heatran, so immediately I noticed that we both have Venusaurs, but the thing is, I don't actually have a great way to deal with it, which is semi-embarrassing, but when I built this team for Apex, I didn't expect my opponents to really have Venusaurs. So, you know, I have a couple ways to deal with it. Heatran's a good one. Bisharp can also kind of take in attacks. The main issue here is that it can just stick around and be really annoying. So, I do have to play this carefully. And the main question is who I want to lead with. It's interesting to see Garchomp and not Landorus T. Scrafty, of course, for fake out pressure. Cresselia does have the option of Trick Rooming, but on a team like that, could very well be using Icy Wind as well over that. So, let's see. Bisharp's kind of solid against most of my opponent's Pokemon, other than the Heatran and the Garchomp, so kind of tempted to go with Bisharp as the lead. I do like Gengar Bisharp a lot, actually. I'm going to want my own Venusaur. And the real question is who I want as the last one. Suicune's kind of nice against Heatran and Garchomp, but it just gets walled by the Venusaur. So I'm thinking of bringing my own Heatran just to deal with James's Venusaur, but I don't know, Heatran kind of gets destroyed by everything else on his team. But I'm gonna bring it anyway. I need a way to really deal with the Venusaur. So this should be an interesting match. Having Heatran also gives me a way of dealing with James's Cresselia, just because Cresselia is a pretty annoying Pokemon to take out. So we're gonna see Venusaur and Heatran coming out from James's end against my Gengar and Bisharp. Interesting lead matchup. Not a very good one, and it's funny because I've got my own Heatran and Venusaur in the back. Now I'm thinking this first turn. I think what I want to do here is Icy Wind and switch Bisharp out into Heatran. That makes sense to me. Though he might predict that and Earth Power my Bisharp Saw, which is the biggest issue right now. So I could just protect an Icy Wind as well. But, you know, I'm going to pull the switch. If he does Heat Wave, I do get a huge advantage here. I don't know, Earth Powering Bisharp would be a very impressive play on his end. Let's see. As Venusaur, of course, is going to Mega Evolve. So Battle of the Mega Venusaurs here. Which is obviously cool to see since, you know, I myself am using it. Curious to see what kind of set James is running, though. Okay, Icy Wind does hit both. That's going to decrease the speed of both of James's Pokemon. Now let's see what the Venusaur and the Heatran go for, as neither of them protected. So I will be able to decrease the speed of both. Heatran goes up for the sub. Okay, good play there. That was definitely the safest play possible, as Venusaur goes straight for the Leech Seed onto my Gengar. Now this is actually really problematic. I probably should have taunted the Heatran in anticipation of the sub, just because I don't really have any good answers to it right now. And the thing is, Gengar, without having access to Shadow Ball, can't really touch the Heatran either, so having Heatran and Venusaur, I mean, it's pretty funny, but it's a really solid combination. And the issue here is I need to be able to take out Heatran's substitute. See. I'm thinking of switching into Bisharp so that way I can knock off and Earth Power the Heatran the following turn for a KO. And yeah, you know what? I'm going to make that play. And I'm going to go for the protect here, anticipating a Earth Power into the Heatran. I also could have substituted, I guess, but it's highly unlikely his Heatran here is going to go for the Heat Wave. So I do want to double target into the Heatran the following turn to pick up a knockout. If James predicts the Bisharp switch in though, and say goes for the Earth Power into it, okay, good, no. As, yeah, the double into Heatran. So, that basically plays out to how I wanted to. Even though Heatran's behind a sub now, I can just knock off an Earth Power. And I'm just going to go for that play. Even if his Heatran protects here, there is nothing Venusaur can really do. Though in anticipation, I think Venusaur is going to switch out here and Heatran's going to protect, so I might have just misplayed that a bit. Subbing with Heatran and protecting with Bisharp might have been a safer play. I actually like that play a lot more. But okay, he's going to stay in, so I'm going to be able to pick up the knockout there onto Heatran, which is absolutely perfect because you guys kind of saw how big of a threat it was to my entire team. As knockoff there, we'll get rid of the sub, and because of the Icy Wind, I will be able to outspeed his Heatran and pick up the knockout here with the Earth Power, 4 times super effective, knocking out Heatran. So, that's a huge, huge relief as I really needed that KO. Mega Venusaur here is going to get the Leech Seed off against Bisharp, but I really don't mind it because Venusaur can't touch the Bisharp and the Heatran, though I do anticipate James is going to have the Garchomp come in here. So let's see if it does come in. This is definitely a tough matchup to navigate through, just because, you know, Heatran caused a lot of trouble, as did Venusaur, but Rotom Wash is actually going to be James's switch-in, which I'm alright with. Definitely would rather see that than a Garchomp. The fact like he didn't bring in Garchomp indicates to me that he just did not bring Garchomp in this game, just because, you know, Garchomp makes the most sense to bring in here. And by James bringing in his Rotom Wash, I do get a free switch into Venusaur, and he doesn't actually have great ways to deal with Venusaur other than the Cresselia in the back. So I definitely feel pretty good about my position right now. But, of course, it's still far from over. Now I do have to focus my priorities onto that Rotom Wash, because once Rotom Wash goes down, Heatran basically walls the Venusaur. So, let's see. I think the safe play here is just switch out Bisharp, or, I mean, protect Bisharp and switch into Venusaur. I alternatively can go on the more offensive and just go for the attack onto Rotom, but you know what, I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to protect Bisharp and switch Heatran out to Venusaur. This is a pretty easy switch to call for James, but at the same time, Rotom Wash and Venusaur can't really touch my Venusaur, so I don't mind getting some damage off here. Though I guess one of the biggest downfalls with Venusaur is taking too much damage, but let's see. As Rotom goes for the Protect, perfect. And what did Venusaur go for? The Giga Drain into the Bisharp. Okay, so James definitely feeling the pressure right now, trying to pick up damage immediately, obviously indicated by that play. So let's see, now I can just knock off Mega Evolve and Giga Drain the Rotom, I think. My Bisharp should outspeed the Rotom. Of course, Rotom, if max speed, actually has the potential to outspeed, he's actually going to switch out Rotom into Cresselia. That's not going to be a good switching here for James, as I'm going to be able to fully punish it with the knockoff and Giga Drain. Most likely actually going to be able to pick up the knockout there, so I think that switch might have just lost him the game, in all honesty. But we'll see. So Bisharp is going to be able to, of course, outspeed, get the knockoff, and wow, that does so much damage against the Chesto Cresselia. An item I like using a lot. I used it at the 2013 World Championships. Of course, when you use Chesto, you do lose the Citrus recovery, but it's really nice to catch opponents off guard, as Venusaur here is continually trying to deal with Bisharp, and I can't stress to you how important it was that I was able to pick up the knockout onto Bisharp earlier on in the match. Sorry, not Bisharp, onto Heatran. And I'm really glad that I was able to maneuver my way around so I could double target into the Heatran and pick it up, the KO on it, because when I first saw the substitute, I really thought I was done for. So, obviously I'm in a fantastic position right now. In anticipation, I think that Rotom's going to protect, so I'm just going to go for the knockoff. Actually, I should... No, I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to attack. Just going to knock off Venusaur and go for the Giga Drain onto Rotom. At this point, I should be able to 2-hit KO Rotom Wash. And then, like I said, Heatran comes in and just beats the Venusaur. So, once I knock out this Rotom, I'm good. But I don't want my opponent to get a chance of getting back into this game, which is why I targeted Venusaur with the knockoff. Smart play by James there, though, not targeting, or not protecting with the Bisharp. Going straight for the Will-O-Wisp onto Venusaur. If James does want a chance of winning this game, he is going to, you know, need to try to get some residual damage here. But my Venusaur is going to be able to outspeed James's for the remainder of the game, given the Icy Wind boost that the Icy Wind that I was able to get earlier on in the match. As Venusaur makes an excellent play there, doubling into my own Venusaur, and that actually does a lot of damage, so very smart turn there for James. Had I just doubled into Rotom, I would have won, but I really was expecting Protect. However, James at this point, if he wants any chance of getting back in this game, kind of needs to make big plays. So I do really like that play from his end there, as this Venusaur is actually pretty weak right now. So definitely a scary position to be in, as that was an excellent play and turn from James. I'm gonna bring in Gengar here. Let's see. So his Venusaur can't really touch my Gengar. Rotom might want to protect here. That's kind of one of them and anticipating. So I could just double into Venusaur with a double Sludge Bomb. Alternatively, I could switch my Venusaur out, expecting a Sludge Bomb / Giga Drain target onto there. So a bunch of options here. I think I'm gonna Sludge Bomb the Rotom and do I want to switch Venusaur out? No, I have to be a bit careful here. Well, even if he Hydro Pumps that, Hydro Pump 1 shouldn't even knock it out, and 2... yeah, I think he's got to protect Rotom here. So I'm going to Sludge Bomb. I'm going to double into... No, I should have switched out there. Okay, Rotom does protect though, so that's going to be perfectly fine then. But yeah, I should have switched Venusaur out there just because I was calling the protect, but regardless, double Sludge Bomb here might actually be able to pick up the knockout. Let's see. As perfect, it does. Oh, with a crit there. Don't think it really mattered at that point, but good 2 turns from James there to at least try to get back into this game. But now Venusaur is going to be able to close up the deal. And as you see there, I did take a bunch of damage from the Sludge Bomb that Venusaur launched my way in the first place because I am a very defensively built Mega Venusaur. But James here is going to forfeit, so I am going to be able to win the first match of the day 3-1. So good game to him. Like I said, his YouTube, I'll link his YouTube and Twitter in the descriptions below, just so you guys can check him out because he is an up-and-coming player, definitely one of the rising stars in the New York City area / the East Coast. And he does, like I said, produce daily content as well. So definitely check him out. Not as well known, but he's a really great guy, and it's always fun battling him. So good game to James there. As we are going to look for the next battle of the day, currently with a rating of 1839. So I feel like I've been saying this for the last like 3 days, but once again we're in the position where a win would put us over 1850 and a loss would drop us back to where we started. So that's what happens when you're high up on the ladder. It's at the point where wins are gaining you less points and losses bring you down a lot. As we're gonna find another opponent from Alaska with a rating of 1769. I wonder if my opponent's actually from Alaska. That would be pretty cool. As here we've got a team of Talonflame, Milotic, Kangaskhan, Clefable, I think. I always get mixed between the two. Zapdos, and Infernape. So lots of offensive pressure straight up for my opponent, especially with the Kang, the Infernape, the Talonflame. Terrakionn's really good. The only issue is it doesn't want to take Scald from the Milotic or Close Combats from the Infernape. So, Venusaur here is fantastic, bar the Talonflame, so I'm going to have to watch out for that. I do like Suicune a lot here, but the Zapdos is really scaring me off. So this is an interesting match in terms, or just kind of interesting... oh man, I gotta use my words here. Interesting team matchup, that's what I was meant to say. Okay, I like leading with Gengar here just because it punishes really anything my opponent can lead with. I'm very tempted to go with Gengar Terrakion, but the thing is, I don't know, Terrakion, should my opponent lead with Infernape, it's gonna just want to switch right out of here. I'm thinking Gengar Terrakion just to scare out Zapdos if my opponent leads with it, just because the Zapdos lead makes a lot of sense for my opponent here. Definitely gonna want Venusaur in the back. And the question is who I want as my 4th one. I'm leaning towards Suicune just because it can one-hit KO Talonflame, but Bisharp's not a bad idea either. Suicune is a bit bulkier and allows me to deal with, the Talonflame and Infernape pretty well, but then Bisharp here does get more offense, which might be important just because Suicune isn't exactly a great means of offense. So tough call to make here, that's for sure. I think I'm actually gonna go with Bisharp. I want more offense here just because I already have Venusaur, which isn't the most offensive Pokemon in itself, and Gengar, which, while, you know, gets access to Sludge Bomb and Icy Wind, kind of just loses after, or not loses, but faints after 2 attacks, so I'm going to play a bit carefully here. But, you know, Bisharp, I always mention in all the videos I bring it in, it's one of those Pokemon you have to be really careful about using, because if your opponent's smart enough, you can just KO it as you walk into a Protect or you fail your Sucker Punch. Infernape Zapdos lead coming out from my opponent here, the shiny Infernape actually, with my Gengar and Terrakion. So this could be good, but this could also be bad. And the reason is because I'm really expecting the Zapdos to go for a Tailwind this first turn, which would not be pleasant. I would expect the Fake Out into Terrakion and the Tailwind from Zapdos. So I could taunt Zapdos expecting the Tailwind. I also kind of just want to Icy Wind. So the safe play here, honestly, is taunt Zapdos, switch out Terrakion so I can Icy Wind the following turn and then bring in Terrakion back for the Rock Slides. But all of that kind of goes, I don't know. I mean, Tailwind makes sense on that Zapdos. So maybe I should just... Let's see. You know what? I'll scout out for the Tailwind by Icy Winding and protecting this first turn. Yeah. I'm not going to risk it. The thing with the... Even if I were to taunt and my opponent, you know, denied the Tailwind, then I still wouldn't be able to get much offense going, as Icy Wind does connect with both Pokemon here. Good. Breaking potential Infernape Focus Sash, and of course decreasing both Pokemon speed by 2 stages. But of course the question here is, did Zapdos go for that Tailwind? Okay, no. Went straight for T-Bolt onto Gengar. That's perfect. No paralysis there either, which is fantastic. So I'm really happy about that. Couldn't have played out much better. I think I'm just going to Sludge Bomb Infernape here and go for the Rock Slide. I'm fine if I lose my Gengar here. Infernape is a Pokemon that often doesn't carry Protect, and it really can't touch Gengar right now because of the -1 speed. Of course, it gets access to priority attacks like Mach Punch and Feint, but neither of those can touch Gengar. So Infernape's going to be in a tough position, and given the Icy Wind, of course, wow, Sludge Bomb actually just KOs there, the Infernape. Of course, a pretty frail Pokemon in itself. Terrakion's Rock Slide fortunately connects with Zapdos. Full target. Will it be able to knock it out? I think it will, as it does. So, really, really good first turn for me there. Or first 2 turns. Basically, I knew that if my opponent were to set up Tailwind with Zapdos, it wouldn't be the worst of positions, because I could just maneuver a bit and play smartly. But that actually just ends up working out a lot better, as Kangaskhan and Milotic are going to be my opponent's last 2, so Venusaur obviously deals with Milotic very nicely. But I'm still going to want to play a bit carefully just to make sure, you know, I don't choke or anything like that. Let's see, I think I'm going to Will-O-Wisp the Kang here and just protect with Terrakion. We might just see a scrappy Fake Out onto Gengar, but if that is the case, I get a free switch into the Venusaur, which I have in the back. So the question here is whether Kangaskhan carries Protect, because Protect from that Kangaskhan could actually save my opponent right now from losing the match outright. If my opponent does not have Protect, of course I can just close combat it for the knockout, as Kangaskhan here does stay in its normal form, so going for the Fake Out Scrappy, of course, onto the Gengar. Good play there. That's actually going to knock me out. But basically I was scouting for the Fake Out there, because most of the times, you know, you're going to carry either Fake Out or Protect, but very rarely both. Because, you know, Kangaskhan's one of those Pokemon that really likes a fighting type attack, like Power Up Punch, like Low Kick, really likes a normal stab attack, of course, like Return Frustration or Double Edge, and then often, you know, Sucker Punch or Ice Punch. So, I guess another Kangaskhan set that could make sense is something with, like, Fake Out, Protect, Return/Double Edge, and then Low Kick/Power Up Punch. But I'm going to wager that this Kangaskhan does not have the Protect, so I'm just going to Mega Evolve, go for the Giga Drain onto Milotic, and close combat this Kangaskhan. Now, if we do see a Protect, I might actually be in some trouble. Though I don't think Milotic can actually even knock out Terrakion with a Scald, so not too worried right now, but we'll see. Protect Kangaskhan really the name of the game here. And I guess I could have played a bit safer by switching Terrakion out into Bisharp, but I'm just going to go for the close combat here, as Kangaskhan is going to Mega Evolve. Let's see. Venusaur, of course, going to Mega Evolve as well. So time to see whether that Kangaskhan is Protect or not. Okay, it doesn't. There we go. So yeah, I think like 99% of the time, if you see that your opponent's Kangaskhan is using Fake Out, you can assume that it doesn't have Protect. At least that was really the case in VGC 15 or 14. You could never really have both of those attacks there. As Milotic here does go for the Scald onto Terrakion, that's going to pick up the KO. Oh wow, I guess not even with that special defense drop. So yeah, even if Kangaskhan had Protector, I would have been fine just because I have the Lum Berry to prevent any burns, and Terrakion would have not even been in Sucker Punch KO range even after the Scald. So yep, that's going to be alright. As Giga Drain does a nice amount there, I am just going to Close Combat and Giga Drain to close it out. See how much this Close Combat does to Milotic. Milotic, of course, is a very defensive Pokemon, and yep, it is able to hang on with a bit of HP. I wonder if it has the Rocky Helmet item. Oh, as it doesn't. Just goes for an Icy Wind there. Gonna target both of my Pokemon down. But yeah, I think the game was basically... just the first turn helped me out so much. And I did, of course, put myself in the risk of the Zapdos having Tailwind. But the thing is, if I were to taunt the Zapdos, you know, and the Zapdos just went for the T-Ball and I protected with Terrakion, then I would have been in a lot of trouble the following turn. So it was one of those cases where I was just I was willing to risk the potential Tailwind because I knew I had Venusaur in the back, and I feel like I could play around it. But yeah, so I made the right call, fortunately enough, in the first game, or in the first turn. Don't even know if my opponent Zapdos has Tailwind, but it is a move you should expect on most Zapdoses in VGC 15. So 2 wins for today's episode, which is obviously great. So that should finally put us back over 1850 again, which is awesome. So slowly jumping our way into the eventual 1900s, which is obviously great. So yeah, that's it for this episode, guys. Of course, yeah, I know I've been using this team for a bit, but I do like this team a lot, and of course it is the team I brought to Apex, which is a lot of fun. Don't worry, there is new stuff coming in the future. In addition to, you know, Road to Ranked, I still have all those analyses and things I want to work on planned out. Just been a busy first couple of days for the week, but definitely keep your eyes open, and those should be up soon. Of course, like the team preview guide and the EV training guide, I am working pretty hard to get out eventually, hopefully in the next week or so. And then, of course, St. Louis Regionals I'll actually be at next weekend, so I am currently trying to make a team for that, you know, figure out something that can do decently well, just because even I think a top 32 finish guarantees my invitation to the 2015 World Championships, which is awesome. But a win there would be really nice, especially since I actually love the VGC 15 format, so do want to take full advantage of it. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Of course, leave a like if you did, and I will see you tomorrow. Alright, peace.